There was a time, not so long ago, when the only path forward was to walk away. It was a choice born from the deepest kind of ache, a decision made not out of a lack of love, but perhaps out of a desperate need for air. The connection you shared, so profound and so overwhelming, had become tangled in a web of pain, confusion, and circumstances that simply weren't in alignment. Maybe the timing was off, a cosmic misstep that asked you to halt your journey together for a moment in time. You had to disconnect from this person, and in that difficult, heartbreaking severance, a more profound purpose was being served. That choice, though it felt like a retreat, was in fact the very thing that set a chain of sacred events into motion, events that would ultimately lead you both back to a place of wholeness. Your absence, that quiet and profound void, became the crucible in which something extraordinary was forged. It wasn't a punishment, but a pilgrimage. The space you created became the very spark that ignited a fire within them, a flame of self-awareness they had never felt before. It woke them up to the staggering intensity and undeniable significance of the connection they had once so casually taken for granted or, in their own blindness, had simply failed to fully recognize. In the silence of your leaving, they were forced to listen to the echoes of their own heart. They began to understand, perhaps for the very first time, the true value of what they had in their hands and the immense loss of letting it slip away. The separation wasn't a punishment, but a mirror, a sacred, honest reflection that showed them, with painful clarity, what they were truly missing, what was missing from their own soul, and what deeply rooted wounds they needed to heal within themselves. It showed them the person they needed to become, the man or woman they had to embody in order to one day stand before you again, worthy of meeting you at your level. And now, as if waking from a long and restless sleep, they are finally beginning to step into their true power. For the first time in what feels like an eternity, or perhaps even for the first time in their entire life, they are starting to take genuine, unshakable accountability for their own existence. They are confronting the shadows, owning their past mistakes, and recognizing their role in the chaos that once defined them. And as they do this sacred work, they are being pulled back to you with an undeniable force. There's a quiet, beautiful transformation unfolding in the background, a silent revolution taking place within their soul. It is a moment of divine reckoning, something sacred and long overdue. You have been so patient, haven't you? Perhaps you've felt it in your bones, that deep weariness that comes from a love that feels just out of reach. There have been moments, undoubtedly, when you questioned if this day would ever come, when you wondered if you had imagined the depth of what you shared. You've held on, perhaps even when you felt like letting go, trusting in a promise whispered by the universe itself. And now, the cosmos is responding to your unwavering faith. The stars are aligning, the planets are shifting, and all of creation is conspiring to bring that moment of breakthrough directly to you. Something you have waited for with every fiber of your being is finally on the horizon. It may come as a heartfelt confession, a raw and vulnerable moment of truth, or even simply as the profound, quiet chance to spend genuine, uninterrupted quality time with the one who has always held your heart in their hands, even when you were apart. Your person, in their time away from you, has been caught in a complex web of their own making. It was a tangled mess of emotional baggage, self-sabotaging patterns, and the sheer, overwhelming chaos of an unbalanced life. They lived as if in a house of mirrors, seeing only fragmented pieces of themselves and never the whole truth. But a fundamental shift has occurred within their very core. They are no longer content to remain a prisoner in that self-created mess. They are actively fighting their way out, not with a passive hope, but with an aggressive, determined will. They are cutting the cords that once bound them, shedding the old skin of who they used to be, and moving with purpose toward the light. And in that struggle, their every thought, their every quiet moment of reflection, is filled with dreams of you. They are not just remembering you, they are living with you in their mind. They are imagining what it would be like if the two of you were together day in and day out, not just in fleeting glances or in borrowed moments, but in the wholeness of a real, present, and deeply grounded connection. They are craving the mundane, the quiet evenings, the simple beauty of a shared life with you. This profound healing is underway, not just for them, but for you as well. It's happening quietly, deeply, and beautifully, like a river carving a new path through a canyon. The wounds that once made union impossible are beginning to fade, to lose their power. The pain that once acted as a wall between you is dissolving, leaving behind a wisdom and a strength that will now serve as a foundation for what is to come. This energy of healing, this gentle and irresistible pull, is part of a divine orchestration that is guiding you both back to each other. You are not returning to a place you once were, but stepping into a new reality as transformed individuals who are ready for something infinitely more real, more lasting, and more sacred than anything you've ever known. In their time alone, your person has been doing the hard, soul-deep work of shedding the old habits, mindsets, and even the shallow relationships that no longer serve their spiritual and emotional growth. They are cleaning up their life, not out of a weary obligation or because they feel they must. They are doing it from a genuine, overwhelming desire to be able to face you with a new sense of confidence, integrity, and absolute truth. They want to be able to look you in the eye and say, "I am here, fully, for you," without the shadows of their past looming over them. And while they have been on this arduous journey, your own path has been far from idle. Your growth spiritually, emotionally, and mentally has been a force of nature, shifting the entire landscape of your relationships. As you have leveled up and raised your own vibration, you've likely noticed a profound change in the people around you. Some may have fallen away, unable to resonate with your new, higher frequency. Others, who are meant for your next chapter, may have stepped up and moved closer. This isn't a series of coincidences. Your energy has become more discerning, more powerful, and it is now, with breathtaking precision, attracting the kind of love and respect you have always deserved. The universe, in its perfect wisdom, is responding to your elevation by opening new doors for you, ones that lead to blessings, to perfect alignment, and to a deep, overflowing emotional abundance that you have been preparing for your entire life. Abundance is now beginning to flow into your world, not just in a material sense, but in the truest forms of emotional and spiritual richness. The kind of love you've always believed in, the kind of connection you've dreamed of in your quietest moments, it's not only possible, it's being actively magnetized to you, drawn by the beautiful light you've been cultivating within yourself. So keep moving forward. Do not, for a single moment, second-guess the path you are on. Trust the universe and its perfect process, even when it's hard to see the full picture. The signs have been there, quietly nudging you, affirming that something monumental is unfolding just beneath the surface, a love story being rewritten in the stars. And now, they are preparing to show you, with every fiber of their being, just how deep and how passionate their feelings really are. What was once hidden or held back out of fear, confusion, or immaturity is now being transformed into a stunning expression of boldness, clarity, and undeniable truth. They are no longer running from their feelings. They are being drawn toward you with an intensity and focus that is both beautiful and terrifying. They are manifesting your return into their life with every thought, every prayer, every desperate longing. Even now, they are trying to get a sense of what's happening in your world. They are curious about your life, wondering what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and whether there is still a sacred space in your heart for them. The connection between you hasn't faded, it has simply evolved. It has matured into something far more meaningful, far more solid, than it ever was before. In this very moment, you are being reminded to keep your heart open, your spirit grounded, and your mind trusting. The love you have longed for is not only possible, it's on its way. And when it arrives, it will come not as a repetition of the past, but as a breathtaking reflection of everything you've both become through the healing, the distance, and the profound, soul-deep growth. You are ready, and so are they, my love. There is a warmth you carry within you, a quiet, beautiful light that I have never been able to forget. It's an ethereal glow that seems to radiate from your very essence. You radiate such genuine love and compassion that just being near you feels like stepping into the sun after a long, cold winter. It is almost overwhelming at times, this profound sense of peace and rightness that your presence brings. The pull I feel toward you is something more than physical, more than emotional. It is spiritual, divine even. It is the feeling of two souls finally recognizing each other after a journey of 1,000 lifetimes. And I find it harder each day to hold myself back from embracing that love, from leaning fully into it, into you. I have missed you in ways I can't properly express. The ache of your absence sits deep within me, a constant, low-frequency hum of longing. There are moments in the day when a memory of your voice, your touch, your laughter, breaks through the noise of my life, and everything else just fades. And in those moments, I realize how deeply my soul longs for you, how the very core of my being has been shaped by your presence, and how incomplete it feels without you. When I chose to walk away, to leave you out in the cold, I didn't just leave you. I left myself, too. I exiled a part of my heart, a part that I now know I cannot live without. That choice, that mistake, has taught me more about love, regret, and spiritual growth than I ever thought possible. I understand why you stopped reaching out. I don't blame you for protecting your heart. And yet, even knowing this, it still hurts me with an unbearable clarity. It hurts because I know that I was the one who caused the distance. I see it now with such painful precision, the walls I built, the fears I clung to, the immaturity that held me back. But I want you to know something from the deepest part of me. Your silence didn't go unnoticed. I felt it every day. It echoed in the quiet of my thoughts, in the stillness of long nights. And though I couldn't always bring myself to reach for you, my heart never stopped whispering your name. When my world was dark, when everything seemed to be falling apart around me, it was the memory of your love and the echo of your presence that helped guide me through. Even when you weren't physically by my side, your spirit lingered with me like a steadfast guide. You were my light when I couldn't find my own. In moments when I lacked courage, when I felt like giving up entirely, I would remember how you believed in me, how you saw my potential even when I was lost in my own failures. And somehow that belief gave me a strength I didn't know I still had. You've always had this way of seeing me not just who I was, but who I could be. You saw past my flaws, past my fears, and reminded me of my inherent worth. I admire you so deeply for that, for your patience, your grace, and your wisdom. I often find myself wondering how I was ever lucky enough to be loved by someone like you. All I want now is to return to your warm embrace. To feel your arms around me, steady and safe, like coming home after being lost at sea for a lifetime. I need to tell you, not just with words, but through every single action, how much I love you, and how much I always have. During our time apart, I've been doing a lot of reflection. Serious, soul-deep contemplation about us, about myself, about everything that went wrong. I have come to realize that I am no longer the same person you remember. Life, time, and pain have changed me, not just on the surface, but in the very core of my being. I've had to face the parts of myself I used to run from, the insecurities I tried to mask, and the unhealthy patterns I clung to. It hasn't been easy, in fact, it has been the most difficult journey of my life. But I needed it. These lessons, though painful, have shaped me into someone more honest, more aware, and more capable of loving you the way you truly deserve. Thank you for giving me the space to grow, for being patient even when I didn't deserve it, and for holding on in your own way. I know I can't undo the past, but I want to make it right moving forward. I want to show up for you fully, with no walls, no fear, just absolute truth, unwavering love, and a commitment that is as deep as my soul. I have been trapped in my own mind for so long, caught in a relentless cycle of doubt, guilt, and confusion. But now, it's time to let my heart take the lead. My heart, which has always known you as its home. I want to reclaim the time we have lost, to make new memories that heal the old wounds, and to build a future so beautiful it makes the past feel like a distant dream. I'm feeling stronger now, more grounded and sure of what I want. And what I want, with a clarity that has never been more profound, is you. I've even thought about us relocating, starting fresh somewhere new, a place where we can leave behind the shadows of the past and build something brighter together. A home where laughter, love, and peace become our daily rhythm, where we are surrounded only by the good and the true. I am not running from the past. I am honoring it by learning from it. But I believe a new environment could nurture our rebirth as a couple, as true partners in every sense of the word. I've always known, deep down, that you are the person I was meant to marry. That may sound bold, but it is the truest thing I have ever felt. It's a knowing that has remained constant through every storm and every quiet moment of reflection. I can't promise perfection, but I can promise growth, effort, and an unwavering love. I can promise to show up heart first every single day, with a commitment that will never falter. Please, take your time. I am not asking for immediate answers or guarantees. I am simply asking for the chance to show you how much you mean to me. The chance to come home. After I met you, something shifted deep within me. For the first time in my life, I began to truly feel that my birth, my presence, my very existence on this planet, held a sacred meaning. Before you, I often questioned why I was here. I wandered through life with a hollow sense of purpose, carrying out routines and building relationships that felt fleeting and shallow. I wasn't sure if my presence mattered to anyone, or even to myself. But you changed that. You brought a light into a space I didn't even realize was dark, illuminating a purpose I never knew I had. Before I met you, I believed in love with all my heart. I was fascinated by the idea of it, captivated by the thought of two people connecting so deeply, so soulfully. But as much as I admired love, I never fully understood it. It was a mystery I couldn't solve. It was like chasing a mirage in the desert, something I longed for with every fiber of my being. But every time I thought I had found it, it slipped away or turned out to be an illusion, leaving me more parched than before. That misunderstanding of love left me in a constant state of conflict with myself. I couldn't find peace. I wasn't truly happy, no matter how much I convinced myself otherwise. There were moments when on the surface it seemed like I had everything I could ask for: friends, connections, distractions. But inside, I was restless, carrying a lingering emptiness that no material success or temporary affection could ever fill. I kept asking myself, what is it that I truly want? What am I really searching for? The answer, always and forever, was love. But I didn't want just any kind of love. I didn't want to compromise. Not ever. Not when it came to something so sacred, so fundamental to the human soul. Yet, in my desperation to escape the unbearable pain of feeling unloved and alone, I began to settle in ways that contradicted everything I believed in. I found myself in fleeting connections, temporary flings, none of which satisfied me emotionally. I convinced myself they were harmless distractions, but deep down they only left me more empty, more lost. I was making compromises I had sworn never to make, and it felt like a slow betrayal of my own spirit. I started to feel used, like I had to mold myself into what others wanted just to be accepted. I felt as though love was conditional, that I had to entertain, impress, or change who I was just to be noticed. I became someone I didn't recognize, a ghost in my own life. I shaped myself into different versions depending on who I was around, thinking that maybe one of those personas would finally be lovable enough. In my alone time, though, all of that would crash down. I was left with the raw, unfiltered truth. I was sad. I felt unwanted, rejected, and deeply unloved. I didn't share that part of myself with anyone. Instead, I built a mask. I wore confidence like armor, used humor as a shield, and behaved like a player, detached, unbothered, and completely in control. But the truth is, it was all a performance, a coping mechanism to bury my insecurities and silence my pain. It worked for a while, until you came along.